In 2001, Australian-based entrepreneur Leonard Teo created CGTalk online forums, which is where the story of CGsociety really begins. But over 20 years later, this journey came to an end, regardless of being one of the most popular websites and forums for 3D artists. So how did CGsociety go from the most popular hub for 3D artists straight to the grave? You see, at the time, CG artists and 3D artists specifically were scattered across small software-specific forums, mailing lists, and personal websites. So CGTalk offers something much broader, one central place where 3D artists, concept artists, animators, and VFX professionals could share finished work, post works in progress, ask technical questions, and receive serious criticism. It arrived at exactly the right moment, when tools like Maya, Max, Lightwave, and Photoshop were becoming more accessible. But social media and mono-portfolio platforms did not exist yet. The thing is, the site grew incredibly quickly, partly because its galleries were selective and its forums attracted both beginners and artists working at major studios. Also, getting an image featured on the CGTalk front page could bring an artist a huge amount of attention. And the famous challenges encouraged members to create ambitious characters, environments, and short films, or showing the entire production process. You see, the community eventually expanded into a company called Ballistic Media, which operated CGTalk alongside Ballistic Publishing. The artwork discovered through the community was collected in premium books, such as the Expose series, turning the website into a bridge between an online forum, an art competition platform, and a physical publishing business. Also, Leonard Teo is an interesting figure because he was never mainly known as a famous 3D artist. He was more of a technologist, or you can say entrepreneur and community builder, who became deeply involved with computer graphics. Honestly, I couldn't find much about him because the public accounts of his early years are kinda limited, I would say. But he noticed that CG communities were growing, and artists were still scattered across small websites and software-specific message boards. And this observation led to CGTalk, which Teo co-founded in 2001. The basic idea was simple, but extremely well-timed. By 2004, published books already considered CGTalk as an important worldwide meeting place for different CG artists, which shows how quickly it grew. As CGTalk became larger, Teo and the team started building businesses around the community. Together with people, including Mark Snowell, he helped establish Ballistic Publishing, which I just mentioned, and they took some of the best artwork which was shared online and turned it into an expensive, high-quality art books. Around 2005, this whole thing became known as CGsociety, while CGTalk became the forum section inside it. CGsociety was meant to be more than a message board. It included galleries, portfolios, industry interviews, news, workshops, competitions, and connections to professional studios. And Teo helped turn it into one of the most influential CG communities in the 2000s. Then he later worked on some bigger things, including product marketing positions connected to Softimage and Autodesk, and a senior technology and marketing role at Nomen. And that career path made sense because his strength was understanding both artists and the companies building tools for them. Eventually, however, Teo saw another problem. Artists could create portfolio websites using services such as Squarespace or Wix, but those portfolios were kinda isolated. I mean, having a beautiful personal website did not mean recruiters or other artists could actually discover it. On the other hand, social networks offered visibility, but they were not designed specifically for professional concept artists, 3D artists, and VFX professionals. But as we know now, portfolios need to be connected to a central hub where people could find them, and this insight became the foundation of ArtStation, which he co-founded with Kevin Strike back in 2014. The platform reportedly attracted around 5,000 users on its first day, which is just incredible. In a way, ArtStation was Leonard Teo rebuilding the original CGTalk idea for a new generation. CGTalk had been redesigned for internet centered around forums and long conversations, and ArtStation was designed for internet centered around images, portfolios, social discovery, in addition to recruitment. And it gave artists, as you can imagine, attractive portfolio pages while also connecting them to studios, jobs, clients, and the wider creative community. Also, Theo carried over ideas from CGsociety too, by the way, including artist challenges and visible works in progress, but adapted them to a cleaner and more career-focused platform. At some point, everyone saw the truth. CGsociety was in decline, and it was not caused by one factor. It was more like an internet slowly changing around it. You see, during its peak, artists were comfortable spending hours inside long-form threads, uploading works in progress and waiting for detailed feedback from other professionals. But by the late 2000s, and especially the early 2010s, Facebook, Instagram, Behance, and other image-driven platforms made sharing artwork much faster. So instead of carefully documenting the entire project inside a forum, 3D artists could post one polished render, receive hundreds of reactions, and reach people outside of CG communities almost instantly. As a result, traditional forums began feeling slower and less convenient, particularly to younger artists who had grown accustomed to feeds, notifications, and mobile apps, And this shift kinda affected many specialized forums, not only CGsociety, and conversations became scattered across larger social media networks. Rather than being centered in a few dedicated communities. And the reality is, ArtStation actually accelerated that transition because it was designed specifically around how professional digital artists now wanted to present themselves. It was launched in 2014, and it combined polished portfolio pages with social discovery, job listings, recruiting tools, and eventually blogs, learning content in addition to a marketplace. So artists no longer had to choose between maintaining a personal website, posting on social media, and visiting a separate job board. So as you can imagine, ArtStation brought those functions together in a much cleaner and much visual platform. And studios also could browse portfolios quickly and contact artists directly. So having an ArtStation profile gradually became almost like having a professional resume for games, animation, and the VFX industry. And by the time Epic Games acquired ArtStation in 2021, the company described it as one of the largest creative websites and go-to showcase platforms in the industry. And if you look at it closely, there is a certain irony in Leonard Theo being involved in both eras. He had previously helped build CG Talk and CGsociety around forums, critique and community discussions, and later co-founded ArtStation around portfolios, visibility, and career opportunities. In that sense, ArtStation was not simply a competitor that appeared from nowhere. It was partly the next evolution of lessons learned from CGsociety, because Theo already understood what 3D artists and CG artists kinda needed, but also recognized the old forum first format was no longer enough. But as a result, ArtStation preserved some of CGsociety's original mission, helping artists display their work, connect with the industry, also build career through connections, while adapting it to a much faster, and I would say, a more visual internet experience. And as more artists migrated elsewhere, CGsociety increasingly felt like a preserved piece of the early CG internet, rather than the center of the modern industry, as it was back in the day. As you can imagine, activity slowed, older discussions became hard to discover, and some remaining users complained about weak moderation, spam, and a general sense that the platform was no longer being actively developed. Honestly, those community complaints are kinda anecdotal rather than being an official explanation for the closure, but I would say they kinda illustrate how longtime users experience its final years. CGsociety eventually announced that it would permanently shut down on January 8, 2024, asking members to save important artworks, conversations, and contacts before the site disappeared. Also, what disappeared with CGsociety was more than another image gallery. It was like a big announcement that the era of internet forums for CG communities is kinda officially over. Even though ArtStation inherited its role as the industry's main showcase, CGsociety, I would say, remains important because it helped create international online communities that platforms like ArtStation later inherited and developed to what it is today. And there you have it, guys. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, please subscribe to the channel to receive more videos like this. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.